Well, hello everyone. I'm your host, Cris Contarinas from CKNY Digital Marketing Agency. Well, let's get ready to raise a glass because our next guest is the fabulous Allie Jones. And today's session, From Vineyard to Victory, we're diving into how to scale your winery without drowning in paperwork. And trust me, Allie is the perfect person to guide us through this journey. With over 20 years in the wine industry, Allie is a true powerhouse. She graduated from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in California with a degree in agriculture science and holds an MBA as well. Growing up in California's Central Valley, her heart has always been with agriculture and supporting small farmers. Allie has worn so many hats in her career, from controller to director of accounting, and she's handled everything from HR to compliance with a proven track record of accuracy and efficiency. And here's the exciting part. She's now armed with 5 virtual assistants and growing. But let me tell you, she built this empire all on her own for years before bringing in the cavalry. Allie has consulted for wineries from coast to coast and keeps her finger on the pulse of the latest industry trends. So, without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to the amazing Allie Jones.
Thank you, Cris. It's so nice to be here. I wanted to start by letting everybody know what terroir means. Terroir is a French word that is the complete natural environment in which a wine is produced, including factors such as soil, topography, and climate. And the Terroir Group offers administrative help for small to mid-sized wineries, including accounting, compliance, and HR solutions so that they can focus on their terroir outside the office doors. So we prepared a presentation for you guys. My passion is to help small and mid-sized wineries with all of their administrative tasks so that they're not drowning in paperwork and so they can get back out in the vineyard or in the cellar or in their tasting rooms making and selling wine. So our promise at the Terroir Group is to help small and mid-sized wineries bring their out-of-date compliance and their books back to current and then provide maintenance services. And why is this important? We're going to start with compliance because if your winery does not have appropriate licensing or outdated licensing or expired licensing, or the TTV is mad at you because you didn't file some reports, your winery cannot operate. So we have taken this and we're going to clean that up for you so that you can first get back in the good graces of the state and federal governments so that your business can operate legally. Then we'll deep dive into your books and we'll get that all cleaned up for you as well. So the Terroir Group serves as a partner to wineries, not only in the here and now, but in the long run by providing valuable consulting services on new and upcoming projects going forward. We do this by offering a couple of different options. First, we look at your vineyard vigilance, and this is a complete and comprehensive suite of administrative solutions that are specific to small and mid-sized wineries. We will meet with you, and then we will take a look at what we need, what your specific winery needs, and we'll come up with a plan for you so that we can get you back in the good graces and get you some great tools to make valuable financial decisions in the future. We're going to start with complete compliance services. Whether you need DTC and wholesale reporting in all eligible states, federal and state label approvals, federal and state licensing, maintaining your licenses or obtaining new licenses. If your production facility needs a license, or maybe your production facility is moving and you need help with that paperwork. We also do bond applications, the infamous 702 reporting. We handle that like nobody's business. And finally, excise tax reporting and everything in between. So we offer a full range of compliance services so that you don't have to worry about that. In addition, we offer full service bookkeeping, accounting, and this also includes payroll for any accounting client that we have. We have a high level of accounting and fractional CFO services available. Our team is amazing and is very well versed in this department. We offer wine industry specific accounting procedures that are tailored to each winery's specific needs. We're going to discuss your financial and tax goals so that we can come up with a plan for your books that works for you and gives you the most financial information so that you can make the most sound decisions going further. Finally, we offer human resources. So if you need payroll, you need maybe a handbook created because you're a growing company that has some more employees. If you need to hire those new employees or need help with interviewing, we're here to help you with that. Our HR department is very well versed in all things HR, especially when it comes to agriculture and wineries, because we all know that the labor laws are different in every state, and we are here to help you. You might ask yourself, how do we do this? And we like to say that we do this with RAM-like determination. We do reporting, accounting, and maintaining. So this is a full service option for you so that you do not have to worry about the administrative side of your business. When it comes to reporting, the first thing that we're going to do at your winery is take a look at your compliance, as we mentioned earlier, and we're going to file any back reports that you have. We're going to take a look at anything that you've received from the states or the federal government that says you need this report. We're going to determine if you need it and if you filed it. If you haven't, we're going to take care of that for you. If the states or the federal government is threatening you with penalties and interest, we're going to appeal for refunds or forgiveness of those charges on your behalf for overdue reports. We can't guarantee that we will be successful in those efforts of getting you refunds. However, we are going to try our hardest to get them either eliminated or reduced on your behalf. Next, we're going to take a deep dive into your books, take a look at your accounting procedures and what's going on in your ledgers. And we're going to clean those up and so that we can produce viable reporting tools for you so that you can make the most sound decisions for your business going forward. This is going to take into account everything that has happened in the past. If we need to make some journal entries and clean up your books and reclassify things, we will do that. We can go back as far as you need. We're going to work with your current CPA so that we are preparing your books in a way that meets your tax and financial goals going forward. And we're going to provide you every month with a set of reports that you can look at, along with an explanation in normal person terms, which I think is the most important. We are not going to talk to you about debits and credits. We are going to talk to you in a language that everybody can understand so that you can make the most valuable financial decisions that you possibly can for your business. We're here to serve as a partner with you and help you to understand your books so that you can run your business more smoothly. Finally, we're going to maintain everything for you. We're going to stay on top of your compliance going forward. We're going to stay on top of your accounting, and we're going to work together with you for your goals and accomplishments so that you can get viable financial information. We have a couple of different programs that are available for our wineries. And this is how we're going to start it. We're going to start with our seller entry step, and this is initiating the journey with a foundational advantage. So we're going to chat with you and find out what's going on in your winery. What are your goals and what do you need help with? Has the TTB reached out to you and said, hey, you haven't filed these reports, but you don't know what those reports are? We're here to help. Are your books kind of messy and you need to get a loan from the bank? We're here to help. We're just going to start with a conversation about what's going on in your winery so that we can suggest the best protocol for you. Next, we're going to take a look at your compliance, because without your compliance in good standing, your winery can't legally operate. So we'll start filing your past due reports. We'll restore your regulatory compliance. We'll get all of that cleaned up so that your winery is legally operating again. Then we're going to do an accounting assessment. We're going to look at your books, see what's going on there. What do you need? Are they a mess? Do you just need to maintain them? Are you trying to get a loan with the bank? Are you trying to limit your tax liability for the next year? We're going to have a conversation about what you need to do. Then we're going to assess what's going on in your books, and we're going to come up with a strategy so that we can keep your books, so we can keep on top of your books, so that we reach the goals that your company needs, and so that we do it in a way that is acceptable for the wine industry. Next, we're going to clean everything up. We're going to implement measures and protocols to make sure that your books are cleaned, go backwards, and that they're maintained and cleaned and refined going forward. This is going to help us give you some really valuable tools that everybody can understand. You don't have to be a CPA to understand your own books. And we're going to give that to you. We're going to give that to you in reporting every single month. And we're going to give you an explanation of what is going on with your books. And if we need to meet about it, call, text, email, we'll get on a Zoom and we'll talk about your books and your goals and anything that you need so that you have a clear understanding of what's going on in your business in normal, everyday terms. This is what we call our Vineyard Vigilance Partnership, where we're then going to evaluate everything that we've just done for you. And then we're going to talk about what services you actually need. Maybe you need a full suite of services. If you need compliance in accounting and HR, which I strongly suggest you keep all in-house because those all tie hand in hand, we're here for you. But we also offer a la carte services, and we're also willing to train people on your staff so that you can continue with the work that we've created for you. The full package is our Vineyard Vigilance package, and this includes winery compliance and accounting. This includes cleaning everything up to start and then maintaining everything regularly. You also have access to your designated team member by email, phone, and Zoom phone calls. We will meet with you once a month or more if needed to go over anything that you need to talk about your goals. If your goals change, what do we need to do? If you are opening up new states for licensing, let us know. We can do that. All of this is included for one flat rate fee. And that is evaluated based on the size of your winery and the volume of work. If you only need compliance services, that would be our Vine Compliance Program. And this offers the cleanup of your compliance for both federal and state, label approvals, DTC and wholesale reporting, bond movement, and keeping on top of all of your compliance going forward. If you need new licenses in the future, this is also included in your monthly flat rate. Rates are determined based on the size and volume of your shipping. Finally, if you just need winery accounting services, then this is the Seller Ledger program, and this provides bookkeeping and CFO services for your winery. This also includes monthly reporting. You'll get a management report each month that shows your balance sheet, P&L, and any other specific information that you might need to help you make the important financial decisions. We'll also include a synopsis of what is happening on your books as of the previous month. And if you need to talk about it, give us a call or an email and we'll get a meeting set up with you so that we can go over any questions or concerns that you have. This program also allows us to work with your CPA at tax time. Since we're the ones doing your books, we are most familiar and we understand how to talk to CPAs in their language, and we understand how to communicate that back to you in your language. So we are ready and here to help you with any of your accounting, compliance, and HR services. Also included in the Seller Ledger package is the payroll. So if you have payroll for your client or for your employees, then this is the package that you'll want because that is included for free. That is a synopsis of what we do for the wine industry, and we do hope that this has been valuable information for you guys, and that if you do need help, feel free to give us a call. We've helped wineries from coast to coast, and we're ready to help you because as small business owners ourselves, we understand how hard it is to just get everything done.
Let's kick things off by discussing maybe some common pitfalls. What are the most frequent accounting mistakes you see wineries make, and how can they avoid them right from the start?
So, some of the most common mistakes I see wineries make is not hiring a a bookkeeper or an accountant that has wine industry experience. You really have to have that middleman that has wine industry experience. Most winery owners are winemakers or marketers, and they have a business, but part of that business is accounting. That's part of any business. However, the wine industry has so many nuances and so many different nooks and crannies and things that you have to just know. And there is no handbook, no playbook. So when you get someone in there who doesn't fully understand the wine industry, different things don't happen. For example, cost of goods sold are not recorded properly. Equipment is not depreciated properly. You get it's just all these little nuances that you only know when you've been immersed in the wine industry. As a business owner, probably a winemaker, your job is to sell and market your wine. That's what you're good at. That's why you got into this field, is so that you could do just that. I got into this field because I have a very weird passion for accounting and compliance, and within the wine industry. So there's a lot of unique requirements, a lot of different production processes that are different in winemaking versus manufacturing widgets. Not everything's the same. Winemakers have one shot to get their product right each year. They get to make their wine one time a year. And so that's where their focus needs to be. And all too often, as small business owners, I think we can all agree that we find ourselves in the nitty gritty and the day to day. And we find ourselves doing everything because it just has to be done, even though we're not necessarily the best person to do it.
And it's probably going to take them more time to backtrack if they don't do it right from the start. I get it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Second question, wine clubs. I'm a member of one of them. Wine
Yeah.
clubs can be tremendous asset, but they also come with their own set of challenges. How do you recommend handling the accounting for wine clubs and tasting room operations to ensure everything runs smoothly?
So that's a two-sided question, and we'll start with wine clubs. Wine clubs, more than anything, is where you really need to make sure that your compliance is buttoned up. Because if you, Chris, go visit a winery in California, but you live in New York, and you say, yes, I would like this wine. I would like this wine to be delivered to my house every quarter or every 6 months or whatever it may be. The winery has to have a license in your state. And every state has different regulations for wineries to ship to their state. And sometimes those regulations differ beyond between states. So, for example, if you join a wine club in California and they want to ship to New York, their licenses, some states require like reciprocal. So if California doesn't allow you to ship to that state, then California cannot ship to that state. Sometimes it's just a blanket license, but every state has different requirements for wineries. And sometimes those requirements are different depending on the size of winery or the amount of gallons that you produce or ship. So with wine clubs, you want your wine club to be as big as possible, obviously, because that is guaranteed revenue at a certain interval in time regularly. And it's a good influx of cash. And that's definitely something that I see a lot of wineries don't have, is cash flow. So you want your wine, you want your wine club, but you have to make sure that you're in compliance, because if you are shipping to a state and that state finds out that you are not properly licensed, then you have a problem because you've now broken the law. And in some states, that's a felony, and you don't want that. On top of that, maybe you do have a license, but you didn't know that you actually had to regularly report your sales to that state. So maybe you're behind on your sales or on your sales reports to that state. So that's another problem, where when it comes time to renew your license, the state's going to say, whoa, like, we're not renewing this license because we haven't received your reports from you for 6 months. You owe us money. You owe us, we need to know how many gallons of wine that we've shipped in. So that's kind of where the compliance comes into it. That's a little bit true with tasting room too, because sometimes tasting rooms also ship wine to customers out of state. Maybe you just go to a tasting room, you don't want to join the wine club, but you want to send a couple bottles to your mom in another state. So it's kind of the same thing with your tasting rooms. As far as accounting is concerned, like I said, the wine club is a great idea because it really gives you just like a flush of cash a couple times a year, which is great. Your tasting room is more your steady sales if you don't have wholesale distributorship yet. So your tasting room is going to give you a lot of sales over the weekend, over the week that you could use for cash flow, and that moves your wine. And you kind of want, if you want to be a bigger brand, if that's your goal is to grow, you want your name out there in front of people, you want to have a tasting room. There's a lot of different options. Maybe you don't own a piece of property or you can't afford to rent a space somewhere where you can have a tasting room. There's a lot of more or less co-ops out there that you can also join where you're going to be pouring your wine with some other wineries. And that really provides for a great revenue stream because maybe I went into that winery or to that co-op to visit ABC Winery, but then Cris, your winery is in there too. So now I've just tried a new wine and I'm your new customer. Maybe I joined your wine club. So there's a lot of different options there, but I think definitely getting your wine out there for the public to taste is never a bad thing.
Great. I know we touched on a couple of compliance items there, and yeah, compliance can feel like a maze, truly, right? So, what strategies do you use to stay updated with changing regulations to keep wineries ahead of the curve?
Well, I definitely receive all the publications from all the states and from the TTB, which is the entity that governs the wine industry on the federal side. The TTB puts on some great seminars that I attend. There's also symposiums. The Unified Symposium is one of the largest ones out in Sacramento, California, that I go to every year. It's more than just a networking for me. They have a lot of great sessions that talk about the different trends in wine shipping. There's also some other seminars, and I actually encourage winery owners to also go to these things. It's open to the public, and actually, a lot of the seminars that the TTB puts on are free. And there, you can go in person, or you can join via a Zoom link or something like that. And I encourage winery owners to also go to these things because it is important for you to just understand. Like, yes, you have hired me, and that is a great first step. But it's also important for you to kind of understand what the laws and regulations are surrounding the product that you make so that we can make viable decisions as to whether this state is a good state for you to open up.
Great. And I know you talked about, compliance services that you provide. Can we maybe dig a little deeper as to what exactly is involved or other expectations that wineries would, expect when they work with you on this front?
Yeah, of course. So when wineries work with me on this front, in the beginning, I'm going to have a lot of questions. I need to know what's going on in your winery. Where are you registered? Are you licensed? Do we need to get licensing? So that all happens in the first little bit of our relationship so that I can understand what's really going on, so that I can make recommendations on what you need. Then going forward, we're going to communicate regularly. After we get you all caught up, we get your licensing together. If there's additional information that I need, for example, if we are registering you in a new state or we're registering you with the TTB, there's a lot of information that I'll need from your company, like your operating agreement, any alternating proprietorship contracts that you have, anything like that. You'll give me that information, or you'll give me access to your drive or your POS system so that I can get the information that I need. I really try not to bother you as much as possible, only because I know that you're busy. You're in the cellar, you're making wine, you're growing grapes, you're selling your wine. So I do shoot you regular emails, especially during the licensing process, so that you know, okay, this is where we're at. It is government bureaucracy, so sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So I will shoot you an email, every week and say, okay, this is the information that we've received for your license. This is what the state is needing. This is where we're at. This is the estimated timeline for when this license is going to be approved. We're going to go through and we'll maintain your licenses. We'll make sure that they're renewed on time. We will file all of your compliance reporting going forward. We work with the states to get your filing requirements. So if you have to file monthly or quarterly or annually, we get all of that information for you. And then we just take care of that for you. We have a partnership with you so that we have access to your sales data and any other information that we need compliance wise. Then we give you an accounting of your compliance at the end of the month. These are all the reports that we filed. These are the states that we have registered your licenses in or renewed your licenses in. And we ask you if you have any other questions or concerns, if you want to open up new states, what's going on in your winery, so that we can make sure that we're on top of what works best for you.
Now, let's move on to HR and payroll this time. I've got a couple of questions for you. You said like harvest seasons, right? There's only number of times that they can produce wines, maybe once, right? So harvest seasons bring a surge of seasonal employees and maybe interns. What best practices do you recommend for managing payroll for these temporary team members?
Every state is different, and we are very well versed on the labor laws in all states. Um, Overtime is a thing. Some states you do not have to pay overtime for agricultural workers. Some states, winery and vineyard workers are not considered agricultural workers. Some states you have to pay overtime after so many hours in a day or after so many hours in a week. So it just depends on where you're located and what's going on. Um, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to labor law, and everything is different. We make sure to fully understand the state that you're in, even down to the county or the city that you're in, and the laws that are there. We highly recommend that if you are able to, that you bring on a harvest intern, maybe a college student from the local university, or maybe a college student from a different country, so that they can come into your winery and really get their hands dirty, so that they can fully start understanding the wine industry, and an industry that they probably want to be a part of in the next 10 years. I think that that is a great program, and we can help with all of the paperwork to get those people here legally, get them paid legally, and really help you to kind of provide a very like educational and immersive program for them that doesn't break the bank. I mean, because at the end of the day, as small business owners, money is always on the back of our mind. So we can kind of figure out what we can legally do that provides a great valuable experience for these interns with while staying within the parameters of the law, so that nobody gets in trouble.
Great. And following up on the HR, like HR policies are essential for a healthy work environment. We all know that. But what key HR policies should every winery have in place, and how can they get started?
The first thing is definitely your labor laws. You need to make sure that you are in compliance with your state, county, and city. And sometimes the minimum wage is different in your county versus the city that you're in. So it's important to understand that you have those protocols in place. It's important to understand or to have protocols in place for your employees. If you do not want them to get overtime, if overtime needs to be signed off on, you need to make that very, very, very clear to your employees up front, that no matter what, overtime has to be approved and signed off on. That, not only does that help you with budgeting, but that helps you with personnel factors. In a lot of states, whether overtime is approved or not, you do technically have to pay it. And if it could cause kind of a rift if it's like a really great employee and you're just harvesting, and they've been there since 5 in the morning, and you're still harvesting at 10 o'clock at night because you need to get those grapes off, but your policy is you don't want to pay overtime. Or maybe you have a vineyard manager and they didn't enforce this policy. You get the payroll bill at the end of the week. Why does this person have so much overtime? I didn't approve this. This is not okay. having these guidelines in place and being strict about them, that even for 1 minute of overtime, you have to have approval, that's going to help with your personnel, because you're not going to get mad because your vineyard manager or your employee knows they have to come to you and say, hey, I've worked my 8 hours already. Do you want me to continue working because I'm going to have overtime? And you say yes, then you're all on the same page. If they don't do that, you're doing a million other things, and then you're mad. You're then mad at them because it's also in the middle of harvest when this is happening. So you're very stressed out anyway. Let's be honest. So, it helps with your personnel, because you don't want, if that employee is a really great worker, you don't want to upset them over something so silly as them doing what they thought was best because those grapes need to come off the vine, but they forgot to ask you, or they didn't ask you for permission. You just have to make your policies very clear that this is a red zone. You have to ask for that. It's so important. On top of that, when you get down into tasting rooms and wine clubs and stuff like that, you have to have clear essential policies for alcohol service guidelines. And this goes again down to the state, city, and county. What are the laws in your state? Do you live in a dry county? Are you not allowed to sell alcohol on a Sunday? Things like that. So this is all information that we research, and this also goes hand in hand with compliance. And this is all stuff that we can help you with the alcohol laws that are very important. You need to make sure that your tasting room understands that nobody, absolutely nobody under 21 can even have a sip of wine. I don't care if they're there with their mom and their mom says it's okay. Like, it's illegal. That will make you lose your license. And this is all guidelines that your tasting room employees have to know.
So I'm hearing awareness, expectations, disclosures, transparency, all those you actually, have to be in the front and center of your HR policies. That's great.
Absolutely. Because the
Mhm.
alcohol industry is so regulated, because you're dealing with liquor, you're dealing with a substance that does can alter, people's personalities if you overserve them and that kind of stuff. You're basically pouring them wine and then telling them to go get in a car and drive wherever they're going to go after your tasting room is closed. It's so important to understand and have all of these guidelines in place, because the government, the state, the city, the county, the federal government is not going to think twice about pulling your liquor license. And without your liquor license, you're not operating.
Allie, you've demonstrated 20 plus years of experience and expertise. Let me ask you, what other unique value do you bring to the table for wineries, or at least, what they can expect from the Terroir Group, apart from a typical accounting firm?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a small business owner too. I don't work with larger wineries. I work with only small and mid-sized wineries because I understand. I understand the cash struggles. I understand the 50 balls in the air and how can I get everything done in one day or in the time that needs to get done. I get you. I see you. Secondly, I'm a farmer's daughter, so I understand and have a huge passion for agriculture. My particular sector of agriculture happens to be wine. My parents grew other crops, but I get the farming industry. I get, and specifically, I get the wine industry, and it's my passion to help small business owners and wineries just flourish and take this like burden of red tape and compliance and accounting and HR just off your plate. Because at the end of the day, your time is best spent making your wine and selling your wine. My time is not best spent making your wine. I fear what the wine would taste like if I was making it. But my time is best spent doing all of this accounting and compliance stuff, because that actually really interests me. It always has. I've always enjoyed the business end of agriculture and the wine industry. And so you're getting like true heart, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Um, there are other compliance options out there, but a lot of those compliance options only offer compliance. There are other accounting firms that have a specialization in the wine industry. but you're only getting a bookkeeper or accountant there. There's other firms that all they do is payroll, but you're only getting payroll. And these three things definitely marry up. So you're getting all three things for a, a great price in one house under one roof, so that all of these things are taken care of. Everything is married up. We know what is going on in these three sectors, and so all of that is buttoned up, and at the end of the day it's kind of like the nucleus of your organization, because without compliance you can't legally make wine. Without accounting, you probably have a hard time managing your cash, so you can't pay your bills or like properly receive money in. Without HR and payroll, you're not paying your staff, and you probably need at least some help doing that. So, really, what the Terroir Group does is it takes all three of these different companies that you can get from any number of places and it puts it under one house. And I think that that's where we're really unique.
Yeah, I see where, this is all like they're separate, but they're interwoven together. And with your experience and your background, your empathy, you know that if something goes wrong, you're not just looking at one side, you're looking at maybe a domino effect of the other aspects of a wine business. So that is really a unique value. I truly appreciate that. Now, couple more questions here. So for those just starting, what does the onboarding process look like with your group and with your team? And what can new clients expect from day one?
So we start with a comprehensive assessment of what's going on in your winery at this minute, and we identify immediate needs and opportunities. So for the most part, a lot of new clients find me because they received some mail from a state government or the federal government saying, your license is outdated, you need this license, stop shipping here immediately, or you didn't file this report that you've never heard of. And like we touched on before, as small business owners, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get my wine out of this barrel and into bottles today. I don't have time to deal with this, and the deadline's tomorrow. So I get a lot of my new clients. That's kind of one of the main reasons why they reach out to me, because the compliance is just kind of stacked up. So we start there and we start to look at what do we need to just get your winery functioning again legally, and we fix that for you, and we'll call the states on your behalf and say, hey, we got this letter, we're so sorry that we did this, blah 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 blah, and we fix that for you. Then we're going to talk about your accounting. If you already have an in-house accountant, that's great. We're going to work with your in-house accountant though. And your onboarding takes about 2 to 4 weeks, during which time we're going to get all of this information that we need, and we're going to talk about what you need. I mean, maybe you have your tasting managers doing your books. Well, your tasting manager actually needs to deal with dealing with your tasting room customers and growing your wine club. So we're gonna talk about different ways that we can streamline your processes in your business so that we can make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. I really, really, really cannot stress enough that having the same business do your accounting, compliance, and HR will make your life so much easier.
Yeah. And I heard earlier that it's not necessary for wineries to utilize all your services, and they can opt for specific offerings based on their immediate needs. Can we talk about fees and how you structure your pricing for services? And are there any hidden costs that clients should be aware of?
So, as far as fees go, during our initial assessment, we're going to talk about things like how many states do you ship to? How much wine are you producing? What are your tasting room sales looking like? And then fees are based on what you need. So, if you're only shipping to your home state, your fee is going to be a little bit less than if you're shipping to all of the states that you're eligible to ship to. If you're only shipping to wholesale customers and not direct to consumers, it's going to be a different price than if you have full Monty of operations. And if you're only doing compliance or you're only doing accounting and bookkeeping, that it's going to be a different rate, but it's all based on what you need from us. That being said, as a small business owner myself, I think it's important to offer high quality at an affordable price, because I don't money is tight in this industry. I get that. And so I just want to give you a great service for a price that is the same every single month. So I really push that we do a flat rate fee every single month for you, so that you know that if you call me once or you call me 20 times, I am there and it's the same price for you. If you want to start with me and you only need compliance, then great, we'll start that. But then 6 months down the road, you think, I'm kind of tired of doing my own accounting. I didn't know I needed that. And you bring that on. We'll discuss what that costs, and you'll get a discounted rate for one of your services just by increasing your services with me. There are some, I don't want to call them hidden costs, but outside of my fee, any fees that you have to pay. So, for example, your license renewals or the taxes that you pay to the state, you will be responsible for those fees, and we can come up with a plan. Some of my clients have an escrow account with me where you put in X amount of dollars into this account and you have to maintain that account at that much. And so as we pay your licenses or pay your compliance taxes or pay your QuickBooks fees or whatever, then that money comes out of that account. And then at the end of every month, you will receive a detailed accounting of that says, we spent $50 for this license. We spent $100 on your taxes. So this is the balance of your account. And then it will be your responsibility to replenish that account, so that we make sure that we always have money so the Terroir Group always has money to pay the taxes on your behalf. That is your money. That is not split, with anybody else. Think of it as like an escrow account for your house. That is your money that is returned to you if we part ways. And that is your money for us to use on the liabilities of your company. Other than that, that's basically the only other fees that we have outside of our monthly flat rate fee for the services that you've agreed to use us for.
Nice. It's great to know that you're taking away the complexity of that process already. So great service again. Now, upon closing, finally, right? Who will be the primary point of contact for clients, and just along the lines of communication, how often can clients expect to communicate with you and receive reports? That kind of fun stuff to close our Q&A portion.
Yeah, so you'll have a dedicated account manager as your primary contact, and this is supported by specialists in accounting and specialists in accounting, compliance, and HR. I personally review all of the financials for all clients quarterly, and I'm available for strategic discussions. Most clients receive monthly financial reports with quarterly in-depth reviews. For compliance matters, we provide updates based on your specific filing schedule, and we're available for ad hoc questions with a typical response time of about 24 hours or less for urgent matters. We really do our best to get back to you as soon as possible, because I know running a small business is you need an answer right now. So we do our best to keep open lines of communication and get you answers as soon as possible.
And that's all I have for questions. I know we had a lot, but thank you. Thank you so much for your time. This is amazing. Eye opener, definitely for me. And are there any other things that you would like to share with us, Allie, before we say goodbye to our fans?
First, I want to thank you, Cris, for having me on your webinar series. And I wanted to let any winery owners out there know that if you need help with accounting or compliance, please give me a call or shoot me an email, visit my website and set up a call with us. We are here to help you, and we definitely will come up with a price that works within your budget and gets you all of the information that you need and all of the help that you need, so that you can concentrate on the terroir outside your office door.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ellie. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.